My name is Louis Spears. I am an educator and community leader, and I will be the next mayor of Jersey City.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Brown Brilliance here. I'm so excited to be back with you. I know you guys missed me so much last week, but Shelly did an excellent job moderating last week. And so I'm excited to be back here with you guys this week for a very special town hall edition. Thank you so much for joining us. So, tonight is going to be really interesting. We're going to hear from the independent candidates and, people who are really invested in Jersey City and want to see it be a better, safer place for us to live. And so right now, I would like to welcome our future mayor, Louis Spears. Hi, Louis.
Hello. How are you, Miss Brown?
I'm okay. And
I'm
also
good.
joining us at the moment is at-large candidate, Miss June Jones.
Hello. Happy to be with you.
Good. How are you?
I am good.
Hey.
How's
everything? Good people.
Good.
All right.
Joining us. This is our Ward F independent candidate, Frank. Cool. So I'm trying to see who's out there joining us as we wait to see who else is going to fill in at the moment. But who viewers do we have joining this evening? I'm curious to see. We have our regular folks, who pop in with questions, and it's exciting to have them here. We have our regulars who show up every week. But as we're waiting, let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen here. Hi, Tanya. So Tanya is here. Tamika Borum is here. Elisa French is here. Beth Collins. Hi, Beth. Thank you for joining us. Nice. So we got our regulars in the building. Beth Collins is a new name for me, but we're so happy to have you. So really quickly, I want to just talk about what's about to happen tonight. Some voters, 3 voters from the community are going to be popping in and asking some questions. Candidates, you guys have 3 minutes to answer. Mr. Frank Gilmore, you have 3 minutes to answer. And so you will get a timer, to let you know how much time you have left. But, you're a talker. It's all good. But don't be offended when I remind you about the time. How are you feeling this evening?
I can't complain. I'm breathing. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for this platform for allowing me to speak to the people. Feeling great. How's everybody feeling tonight?
Very well.
I would like to know, how's the campaign trail for all of you? How's that been going as we're going into this final stretch?
The campaign trail is it's very busy. It's a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. And it's just about doing the work. So for us, our campaign trail, we're just working every single day. Not taking anything for granted, not getting too high when everything is going our way, not getting too low when things are not necessarily going our way, just staying even kilter. And that's how we're running the campaign. I'm fortunate to have the support of a great team, mostly females. And I'm just happy, and I'm excited to see the results on November 2nd.
Absolutely. Ms. June, tell us about the campaign trail for you. How's it going? What are some highs? What are some lows for you?
It's been a learning experience for me. I'm happy to say a good experience. I'm learning a lot from the residents. Some things that I've already been aware of in being in tune with the community, as I've worked in the community for the last 30 years, and some new learning experiences as well. And I am planning to use those experiences, those concerns, those suggestions of the people, and in intertwine them in a positive service for the people. Um, it's interesting, when people say things over and over and over again. You get it, and you learn what's important and what you need to prioritize during the process. I am happy to have people that believe in me, that are supporting me and helping me every day. And when I become victorious on November 2nd, I plan to implement all of these plans.
Nice. Good to hear it. Just a couple of more shout outs. We have Cordell McMillan who's viewing with us, Phyllis Thompson, Jillian. Hi, Jillian. Terry Rogers is also here. And currently joining us, we have Chris Gaston, who's also an at-large candidate. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Hey, good people. How y'all doing tonight? It's a great group of people to be a part of.
We're excited to have you. How's the campaign trail going for you?
The campaign's going all right. It's different, especially running citywide. Being a former ward council, it's a little bit different because now you have to expand citywide. But it's been great. Having some fun. We dropping videos. We're just having a good time right now.
Cool.
Wait, so you're not gonna ask me how the campaign trail is going?
I mean, we hear from you every week here, but Louis, how's the campaign trail going for you?
Ms. Brown, I'm excited to be connected to such amazing people who are for the community, people who have the community's best interests at heart. It's amazing. Going door to door, connecting with folks, canvassing, phone banking, sending emails, all of that is all growing pains. But it's a lot of fun. And I'm excited about November 2nd and winning this election.
Awesome. So are you guys ready for your questions? You guys don't sound excited. Are you guys ready for your questions?
Yes.
So our first voter and community member, Jay, Darren. Hi, Jay. How are you?
Good evening. How's everyone doing?
Good.
They're doing all right.
So, Jay, before you ask your first question, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what it is you do, and then you can ask your questions?
Well, again, hello, everyone. My name is Jay. I've been a resident here in Jersey City predominantly all of my life. I host a podcast called For the Stress Podcast, which speaks on local news, community events, creative endeavors. Louis has been on the show. So I know I talk a lot about what's going on. I've been following the race very closely, so I'm very happy to be here.
Yes.
And what's your question?
Okay, my question for the independent ticket is, what are y'all plans for Black and brown businesses on the Hill? I would like to direct my question at Mr. Gilmore first, since he's running for Ward F.
I'm trying to log in on my computer so I can see full screen. I'm on my phone right now, and this little view is really throwing me off with the side. So give me like 2 seconds.
Miss June, would you like to ladies first then?
Well, sure. For citywide, entertaining the citywide position, I'd like to be able to expand on businesses for all people. I know that there is a disparity for Black and brown people, and that there has been. If one would look at the either one, last two Croson studies, pick either one you want to look at, the first or the second, it certainly outlines that we have been at a disadvantage. The first one, undoubtedly. And then, of course, we decided to do a second one, which pretty much told the same story. I think the numbers on the second disparity study is a little screwed because it allows an entity of another group of people, which is the LGBTQ population. And to answer your question directly, I think that there are a number of things that we can do to entertain the growth of opportunity for businesses. One, for sure, for certain, set aside. Depending on the area of business that you're looking to grow. My specialty, and I'm a serious advocate for development and construction because I do affordable housing. And to speak for that specifically, if we had more apprenticeship programs, if we had more incentive programs for developers to hire local resources, local people to put in those positions, that would be a great start. Jersey City right now is booming in development. And if you walk at the sites and see the sites, there's not a whole lot of people that are Black and brown on those sites. So with that, I would also say that the percentage of set-asides is mandatory. How do we catch up? How do we build on generational wealth if we don't have the opportunity to start somewhere? I think that it is important for the city and me as a council person to institute those types of programs that would be mandated. And then in all of this, because it's talk that we talk about all the time, there has to be a serious monitoring system. And the monitoring system has to be with us, because we can say whatever we want to say and do whatever we want to do because these sound bites sound good. But if you don't have people that are monitoring and reporting accurately, then the project doesn't work. And then there has to be benchmarks and people that are accountable for the results of what we put out there and the results of what we receive.
So I guess AJ, you can ask the question again. I heard what you said, but I just want to make sure I'm hearing correctly exactly what you said. So if you could repeat the question for me.
I asked, what does the ticket have? Does the ticket have plans for Black and brown people who have small businesses on the Hill?
Yes. Well, I definitely have plans for small businesses as a whole, right? And I want to create a mechanism where we are encouraging entrepreneurship. I want to create a mechanism where funds that's coming from the city that's already allocated to the budget to take on projects, making sure those individuals are homegrown. There is a lot of resources that the city they outsource, and they have different contractors from all over the state, all over the country, doing services that I'm of the humble opinion that Jersey Cityans have the necessary skills to do those programs. So as a council person, I have to represent the whole jurisdiction of Ward F. And when I'm looking at representing my jurisdiction, I'm looking at bringing all of the necessary possibilities to our ward as it relates to building the infrastructure for these entrepreneurial programs. And even outside of that, I've always pushed and advocated for individuals to become entrepreneurs, because the reality is, in today's climate, especially in Jersey City and Ward F, you're going to need several streams of income. So I think that that's what we have to do, monitor us keeping our contracts in-house, hiring people from the community, hiring local homegrown Jersey Cityans to do contract and work that we need done in our community. It's a sense of pride that these people take when they do these jobs in their own community.
You know, I think one of the things that we can do as council people, as mayor, you know, when I was on city council prior to that, like I was one who brought up the Croce study again, because back in 2015, the mayor and his administration, you know, started another study to study the first study, right? So, you know, when I met with the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, and I met with the director at that time, Reverend McCray. I said, listen, you need a list. The city purchasing, the city should be doing business with local businesses inside of Jersey City, namely Black and Brown, um, businesses and enterprises. And it's real easy. The county does a better job with set asides and with business. And the city got to do that. And not just the city, but I would even say the public schools got to do a job, because you have millions of dollars budgets. Like you have, when you add the city budget and you add the school budget together, it's close to $1.3 billion. And that's a lot of money, right? And that's a lot of money and even with the city historically, Black and Brown businesses have not even partaken in that. And I'm talking about all business enterprises, right? So we need to be a little bit more deliberate. And as a council person, when you see those resolutions come down the pike and you see that the city's going out shopping, you need to say, was this a local Jersey City business, right? And you compel the Office of Diversity and Inclusion to make sure that all city departments are supporting Jersey City businesses, namely the ones that are Black and Brown, who've been robbed of dollars for decades inside of this city.
I just want to pick up on what Chris and also Frank was saying about small businesses. And I want to apologize because I was a little late because I was on the street. As you know, we got to reach out as many people as possible. I'm somebody that I'm proud to be part of the biggest small business Latino association in Hudson County, and to be able to see how business owners actually have to work between 10, 12, 14 hours a day in order to provide to their families and make sure that they have all the resources available, and close that gap between small business owners and the community. I'm very proud to say that I've been doing that for the last 5-6 years without actually being city council. Some of the programs that the city already have that I believe that are very important that we promote and we work together is that they have actually resources allocated to pay half or part of the salary of nonprofits and businesses. So the expenses to stay open and to be able to provide those services to the community is something that we can all look and work together to make sure that keep happening, and also that we can expand it. That we have resources available for people that want to open new businesses for the Brown, Black, Latino, African American, Asian minorities that we have here in the city that is so pure and so diversified. I feel that we together making sure that these programs are available and enforcing it and making sure that it's accessible to people that may not have the knowledge or may not know that those programs are in place. That's part of our duties as a city council. Okay.
I think I know they go on, but Jay, I also think that the city can make sure that and the council people can make sure that these opportunities that come before us, that they are given equitable. The RFPs are instituted. Those are requests for proposals, so that and with the set aside and trying to make it an equal and balanced this system. For those of us that have been disparate in the years of disparity, perhaps giving them a few extra points on a measuring system, particularly if they're Jersey City lifelong residents. RFPs are very important because it also ensures that perhaps the opportunities aren't just going to family members and friends, opposed to qualified, resourceful people in Jersey City. It is important. I think that Jersey City has a lot of resources and they have a lot of skillful people, and we ought to be using our resources first before going outside the house and outside the family to fulfill the needs of our community.
No, absolutely. And just to reiterate, to sum it up a bit, small businesses they are the engines of the local economy. So it's just important that we support local businesses in general, but on the Hill, particularly the Black and Brown businesses, right? Like they're typically the only spots that, you know, we could get certain things from. Like, you know, I getting black soap, right? I could get it from over here because I know the people who have it, and that's what I use, right? For example. And so it's very important that you know, not only the short term that we examine our office hours in the city, right? So that our people could connect to the resources and to the individual, into the entity that could provide them with more capital, right? So when you compare JCEDC to HCEDC, the office hours are a lot different. So it goes to what Chris was saying, and to piggyback off of you know, Miss June and Frank and Alvin as well, to provide incentives, right? That's the way that we can keep them you know, afloat, and really help them you know, to continue to do business at a high quality rate.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys.
Jay, do you have any follow-up questions?
Just one. What do you guys feel like was the issue? Like, what caused the disparity between other communities getting certain businesses and the Hill being, for lack of a better word, neglected?
Honestly, I think it's an issue of what we value as a community, and who we value in many ways, and we want to make sure that and being equitable, that we provide that we express value to folks no matter where they're from, and so I think at the crux of it, there are other things, but at the crux of it is our value system.
If I
I
can
would,
chime in,
oh, go ahead, June.
if I can chime in just a word or two, I think that when we know better, we do better. And in that particular case, for those of us that don't know better, we want a council person in our corner that can advocate for us and show us better. And that's the bottom line. I mean, there are things that are available to us in the city that you would never even know about. And if your council person isn't advocating for you, if they're not sharing, getting the word out there, and speaking on your behalf
Never even know
for
about.
the issues that you have in
If your
your
council
community,
person isn't,
then it's not going to get better for you. So I think with all of our ideas that we're going to talk about that we want to do, it's going to be because of what we've experienced and what we're seeing and what people are telling us. But the bottom line is that you need to have someone to represent you for all of those issues. And if they're not there to represent the people, then you need to pick somebody that will.
I agree. I agree. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you answering my questions. I'll see you guys at the poll. Appreciate you all.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Jay.
Thank you.
And so just a quick reminder, candidates, can you please go on mute when you're not speaking? And at this time, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the next question.
You know, the best part of this entire process for me is a chance to meet you all. From block to block and event to event across Jersey City, I genuinely enjoy meeting you as well as listening to you. I listen to your concerns and the expectations you have for our city's leadership. I listen to your stories about the city you and I both call home and love. I also listen to your suggestions on how where you live can be better. Listening to you helps me connect and understand the communities I enjoy serving. So the next time you see me out and about, say hello.
So we're back. And are you guys ready for your next question?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so joining us next, we have the brains of the operation of Hummus JC. Joining us is Ray and Ashley.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you guys for joining us. So same thing, tell us a little bit about who you are, and then you can ask your question.
So we both are born and raised in Jersey City. We love Jersey City, which is why we do what we do. We made hummus just as an outlet for us to kind of talk about issues that we felt the city wasn't talking about and that weren't really on the forefront of anyone's minds. So, and it's been amazing to see that, you know, we have now a good following who feels the same way. And I feel like we have a good thing going.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to communicate. Like before, like I feel like we didn't interact with the community, like aspects of the community at least as much as we do now, because we've just been able to meet so many amazing people
Mhm.
that we wouldn't have met if it wasn't for running the social media account.
Awesome. So what's your question?
So my first question is, so research has shown that Jersey City, along with Newark, has had the highest childhood asthma rates, and this is due to small airborne particles that is affecting our air quality. This is due to like cars, vehicles, and then also roadway construction. And it's shown that Jersey City, along with New York, has the worst air zone population by ranked 10 when it comes to air ozone layers and the pollution that's found in our ozone. And with the people that are being affected by this air pollution, about 14% of the population that is affected is the POC and African American children populations. So my question is, how will you be addressing our improving our city's poor air quality while also improving our kids' children quality of life while addressing these air pollution issues and the effects of climate change that we're having here?
So I think I want to kind of jump in and have a last one in answer first. So Elvin, that would be you. You can
Okay.
answer that question first.
Thank you. So for me, it's been 8 years that we see a lot of development, and it's not that we're against it, but it's mostly focused on making profit and not really looking after the community and making sure that issues like pollution and contamination can be taken care of. And another thing that you didn't mention is, because of the mass development that we have and people moving in, that also is going to attract a lot of traffic. And then we get a lot of traffic pollution and as well as, jams and people that can actually, use the street, whether, you want to use bikes or you want to recreate in parks. So the main thing in this one, I believe strongly, is that we got enforced to be more proactive, to have more parks and green areas in the city, especially protecting Liberty State Park and making sure that areas like that stay open and available for all the community. We got to see, because the city is the biggest landlord or the property owner in the city, and we got to explore options, right? Which area we can use to develop as parks or community, or green areas that people can actually gather with the family and kids. So that's something that is very important to me, and something that should be very important to all the council person coming to the city hall coming November 2nd.
Frank, you're on mute.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Good to go.
Yes, I think we have a unique opportunity to create more green spaces. I mean, the reality is that we're a growing city. With more people come more motor vehicle use, come more CFCs, car floor carbons affecting the ozone layer. And we have to have a hard conversation about this, right? Because for the most part, we're not even talking about this. We're not even talking about how the air quality is affecting residents in Jersey City. And this is why we always in the business of pushing responsible development, making sure the infrastructure is conducive to the development coming, pushing for more green spaces and things of that nature. So the reality is we have to have a real heart to heart on how we can address air quality pollution. I'm of the opinion that if we had more electrical cars, that would be a mechanism to decrease air quality. if we had more green spaces and take advantage of the green spaces we had, i.e., building more trees and things of that nature. But the reality is, the current administration is not even discussing this. They don't even have plans for this. This is a problem that doesn't even exist. But I'm grateful that you proposed this question and brought this problem to the forefront because it is a real issue. In fact, I come from that same community who's very susceptible to being inhaling this poor quality of air. So it's something we have to take a long look at and a hard look and create a plan where we can at least reduce the air pollution and the quality of air here in Jersey City.
Chris?
Okay. I look at it, I don't know. I mean, like I look at it twofold. I agree with everyone is saying, because you need green spaces and things like that. But I just think that people's habits also have to change. I think as homeowners, we can do a lot. As far as just doing the basics like recycling and weatherproofing our homes and things like that. I think that the city needs to just do a better job of public transportation so people won't have to drive and the carbon imprint wouldn't be as much. I just think that we can just do a lot of things. I just think that new constructions need to follow certain green standards so that they could be more water efficient. They can use more energy efficient. I just think that there's a lot of things that really has to be done. Everything from dieting, the food that we eat, less waste, things energy efficient, taking out plugs, turning things off, like all these things add up. But I just think that, going back to how we construct and how we build this city, and a lot of metropolitan areas are just concrete, right? So there's no place for water to drain. There's no place for things to be absorbed, it's real basic. They teach you this in ecology where they start saying that, trees take in carbon monoxide, the dioxide, and produces oxygen, yada, yada, right? So we just need to just do the basics, plant more trees, plant more green space. Sound like children are interrupting our meeting. And I guess that's a virtual reality that we're in right now. But no, it's all of the above. All hands on deck.
Love you. I'm sorry. The kids are going to bed right now, so they're like, "All right, love you. Bye, bye, bye." All right. So I agree with all of you. I would love to start initiatives around planting trees and grass and yards, tree canopies, all of those things that are important to ensure that that sustainability practices are in effect, especially with businesses, right? And even when I think about air quality, it's a health issue, and it's also an environmental issue, but it's also a social justice issue, right? And so when we're thinking about, because it's affecting certain parts of our community rather than others, and so when I think about that, equity comes to mind as well, and then we have to do more around ensuring that even with our big businesses that they are responsible for the whole ecosystem and not just building a building, right? Like not every open space needs a building. So just ensuring that systems are put in place, structures are put in place, ordinances are designed with these issues in mind. That's the way that we should go.
And Miss June?
I echo the sentiments of everything that was said. There is in some cases some disparity in where we live and the things that we have to endure in our neighborhoods as well. That makes the quality of life and the air quality bad. In living conditions, as Chris just mentioned, some places and some landlords are so horrible in keeping up standards that asthma and other respiratory illnesses are transferred through rodents, and and bad um, living standards. You know, some people have mold in their apartments, and it's not because mold doesn't exist or it doesn't happen after water grows. It's because landlords are horrible, and some are just allowed to get away with doing nothing for their tenants. I think that we need to plant more trees, particularly in Ward F, because not only do we worry about the air quality, we're worried about the heating of the area. I just learned recently from Sustainable JC how hot the neighborhood becomes because we have no trees. Simple solutions like that are really, really, really important. And if you don't know that uh, asthma is because of most of asthmas are because of or is worse with people who live around highways and high traffic areas. um, those things need to be looked at as well. As a retired respiratory care practitioner, I have to tell you that we had serious issues, children that have to cross the highways to get back and forth to school. You know, things that the environment, just because we live in bad areas that don't provide green space, decent housing, responsible development, and responsible landlords, increasing those incidents of asthma attacks and other respiratory and pulmonary illnesses. And I think that for those in Ward F, you know, when we talk about educating people, these are some of the things that we have to talk about, because our quality of life becomes bad because of it. And sometimes we don't even realize it's the living conditions that we are in that makes it all the worse. I echo the green space. I echo, especially the combined sewer system. You know, in Jersey City, we have such a terrible infrastructure. And with all of the infrastructure, with all of the development that is going on, you would think that you would look at the infrastructure first to make sure it can maintain the powerful boom of this development that's going on. And we're just now getting to a conversation of talking about combined sewers, you know, the overflowing. And every time those sewers overflow with the combined overflow of drain water and combined sewage, we ought to be thinking about if it's affecting the drinking water that we actually have in our area, particularly since we are so close in some areas to the waterfront. So I just say that there's a lot to look at, our issues that we have to look at, not only with the obvious stuff, but these are some things that we really need to take a look at, because our health and our children's health are at jeopardy if we don't.
That's right.
Absolutely, absolutely, Miss June. Thank you for that. So, Ray, I saw you smiling, right? Because I know that this is a passion of yours. We were talking about the water, you know, the health of the drinking water for the community. Do you guys have any follow-up questions? You can ask two candidates to elaborate, or, you know, give more detail if you have a follow-up question.
Should we do this one?
Yeah, we'll do that one.
Okay. So a few weeks ago, Jersey City once again saw the effects of climate change firsthand when we were hit by Hurricane Ida. Damages caused by the storm are estimated to cost over $34 billion. Due to Jersey City's poor stormwater management, many communities are at risk for sewage overflows and extreme street flooding. With an expected increase of these detrimental storms, how do you plan on changing the city's infrastructure to lessen future stormwater damage?
You have any candidate in particular you would like to answer that?
Let's start with Lewis. Gotta kick it off.
So similar to what I said before, we need to make sure, right, that we are investing in, you know, trees and, you know, grass and things like that. But bigger than that, as residents, we need to know what to do before, what to do during, and what to do after. There needs to be an initiative for that, right? Because of climate change, we know hurricane season comes the same time every year, and so it's important that we equip the residents with the necessary information, right? And so just working with the individuals in our community, but also the big businesses, right? Like, again, we don't need a space we don't need a building for every open space, and to ensure that they are sustainable business practices, right? So they just passed something with the council recently, and I'm really excited about it. Right, encouraging developers to porous surfaces to develop porous surfaces, catch basins on maybe their roof or on the side that will hold water. Just holding folks who want to connect with the community and do business in a community, holding them to a standard, right? At the end of the day, this is our house, right? And we shouldn't have to kowtow to developers and and ask for permission for things. When they want to develop here, we should set the standard and hold them accountable to the larger ecosystem, right? So you're not just building your building, but you're also focusing on floods. Like if you're in a flood zones, ways to prevent that. Transportation, right? Holding them responsible for those things, holding them responsible for the fact that schools can be overcrowded, right? How are they gonna support school systems? So this is a larger issue, and I kind of derailed, but that was basically what was on my heart, man.
Any other candidate you would like to ask?
Janine, I would jump in.
I would ask June, but June already made
And Chris has some.
So let's go for it.
Go ahead, Chris, and then we'll go to June.
June is eliminated from the question because she already knows my answer.
Go ahead, Chris.
And if Frank wanted to say something, he has to unmute himself because he's talking a lot of smack back there. No, but I just think a sewer system as antiquated as Jersey City has, it just needs to be updated. And so, what happens are projects, large scale projects like Bayfront and certain degree other projects. So they get bonds, and they bond to improve the infrastructure of that particular project as relates to sewage and everything else. But Jersey City needs a complete overhaul. In the last couple of years, the MUA has done work in order, to help the flow of water. But I don't think those efforts are working because, we're developing the city rapidly, and with more density, it brings forth more usage, right? And it also puts a strain on our system. So we have to really make major investments. And I'm quite sure people in Jersey City, if they knew that investments, they had to pay for them, they knew that they had to invest hundreds of more dollars in their tax dollars to help get that done, they should do that. The city also should be asking for federal, when we start talking about this whole infrastructure plan that's going to come about, whatever, on a national level, Jersey City needs to be begging for money to help improve its sewer system here in Jersey City and in Hudson County, and kind of pushing legislators to help that money, you come into the city to help improve, because development is not going anywhere, but we have to better our sewer system so we can have that water just flow more fluidly into the rivers as opposed to being in our basements. I have FEMA coming to my house tomorrow at 4:00 to assess the damage.
Nice.
So,
thank God.
That's a lot.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
So Ray and Ashley, thank you so much for asking that question and bringing up the conversation about sustainability in our city. It's a conversation that needs to be had a little bit more often. So thank you so much for that. And now we're going to take another commercial break or video break. So candidates, take a sip of water, do what you need to do. You got a minute or two.
Our community is what we envision it to be. We believe in a diverse and an inclusive Jersey City where all residents are lifted up during times of prosperity and all residents are supported when times are tough. We believe in a strong community where no resident fears walking down any street in our city. We believe in a world-class education for our kids so that every child can thrive in life and in the professions of their choice. We believe in transparency in government with all public employees acting as public servants for the greater good. We believe in economic opportunities for all adults in this city to be able to thrive and to earn an honest and fair living wage. And united, we are the answer to achieving this vision. On November 2nd, vote Lewis Spears for mayor of Jersey City.
Here we go, y'all. Jersey City, rise up. Check it out, yo.
Steve Phillip don't respect us. Not at all. Dollar bills got his morals all messed up. Moved to Jersey City to be the governor. Using Jersey City to be the senator. Team Phillip said he wouldn't run for 3 terms. But now Team Phillip run for 3 terms. We have to do things to make him disappear. Register the vote and vote for Lewis Spears. He had the MUA, push the water tax, shortchange the schools with the payroll tax. The Prince of Goldman Sachs got the city gift wrap to developers like Matt Cali, Kushner, and Left Rack.
We gotta get that full video, man. We gotta play the full video.
We gotta find the full video. Chris, like you just spitting bars right there. What made you do that?
Because like folks have to know and understand that there's options in this, and a lot of times we let this mayor off the hook, but he has a past record. And so the purpose of the song was to really talk about that record, talk about the options that Jersey City have, with Lewis Spears, getting young people registered to vote, talking about why this the city council needs to be a little bit more independent. And that's the purpose of the song, to kind of like have folks just come together for this election, because we need that. We need Jersey City to rise up.
And what better way to do that than hip hop, right? But I won't get into a hip hop lesson right now. But the social protest is what one of the solid foundations that hip hop was born on. So, but anyway, we're gonna invite our last community member with a question. Artist, Miss Amy Wilson. Hi, Amy. You're on mute.
Yep, I'm good. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for having me. I want to say thank you guys so much for running. I know you're all doing this at a tremendous sacrifice to your own lives and, your other careers and everything. And I appreciate you so much. And I know so many other people do. We're so grateful that we're going to have a choice this election, and that you've brought all this great dialogue to the election. So if you don't know me, I'm a professional artist. I've lived in Jersey. I'm not from Jersey City, but I've lived here longer than I've lived anywhere else, which I came here about like 1997. And my question for you, I was asked by the campaign to ask a question about the arts community here. And so I'm going to have to read it here. Over the last 10 years, many of the venues that support the arts in Jersey City, whether they be art galleries or performance spaces or places that host live music, have been pushed out. These spaces make money, create jobs, support artists, and make our city a more interesting and exciting place, but it's hard for them to compete with skyrocketing rents and the overall cost of doing business in Jersey City. So my question for you is, what will you do to support the venues we have and to attract more to support the arts in Jersey City?
Hey, Amy, thank you. That's a great question. And when we're talking about art, right, the whole genre of different things, we're talking about drawing, we're talking about music, we're talking about playing instruments, flutes, and all things of that nature. So it is extremely important, right, for us to make sure that we're funding our institutions, because the reality is that one can make the argument that art industry can help reduce crime in our neighborhood, because it's an avenue for kids to let out, to express their frustration, whatever that may be. It's a mechanism for them to just express themselves. So we definitely have to make sure we have art pockets throughout the entire city. And I would make the argument that a lot of those art pockets should be in the jurisdiction of Ward F, because I'm looking at the lack of art programs, the lack of programs and resources as a whole, but particularly for the arts. Our generation and a younger generation cling to the arts and they look to the arts as a way to express themselves. And it is a beautiful outlet. So when I'm on council, I'm going to be looking for ways to incorporate arts more into municipal programs.
You know, if I could just chime in a little bit, I think that Frank is absolutely right, and I think, as for myself, growing up as a child, we always had arts and crafts, and it was an avenue for us to find ourselves, be it that or sports. There was exposure, and it was important to pursue. I actually won a few art contests when I was a kid. Just painting, still life, stuff like that. And it is a good way of expressing yourself in many ways. I just want to say that back in 2013, we had an opportunity to bring the first learning community garden to Lafayette. It was a beautiful, beautiful garden, and it grew more than just vegetables. And the highlight of that garden was our mural on the wall. And what happened was that I learned that there was a lot of underground artists who did graffiti in the neighborhood. And they got together and they did a wonderful, wonderful mural, and they incorporated greenery into it. And I just bring this up because it led to the mural program as we know it today. And some of those underground artists are now outward and doing really, really, really well. I won't name them. I don't know if they want to be named as underground artists who are now they're flourishing in the neighborhood. What it did was it led to us asking for more walls for the artists to paint on. And then, of course, in the change of the administration program, we have the arts mural program today. But I just say that to say the paintings that we talk about with people in what they do in their expressions are now admired by the same people who thought that the work that they did before, what we knew as graffiti, was not something positive.
Just want to add from June and Frank that when we encourage our kids to do art and we, have that option, many wonderful things can happen. It's sad to see that the administration decided to bring a museum for French, a Pompidou Center, that is going to take $12 million of our budget, that is not going to be invested on the local artists that we have here struggling and all the different recreation venues that we can actually get together and provide to our community. And it's nothing that I got against the actual museum itself, but the priority to put people first is something that we lack in this administration, something that we look forward as a council person when we get there, that we can, allocate those funds better, take a look to that budget and see how the fund is being spent that is not really impacting our community. And definitely art, recreation, and mentorship programs are one of the main things that we all the independent candidates want to bring on when we get elected. And that's why you got to be wise when the moment comes on November 2nd and decide how the future of this city is going to be in the next 4 years, because we cannot afford, and I said it again, we cannot afford to have 4 more years of the same. People that just go out and bully and harass people that have been proven to be out there in the community, helping without being elected official. We got to make sure that we do our best effort to have people that actually care and have a connection to those artists, the kids, and all the residents of Jersey City.
Absolutely. When I think about how this current administration, invested dollars, I ask myself, is all art equal in our community? Right? Like, similar to what Elvin is saying, we're spending money, but how can we really invest in those individuals in our community who have brought, art to life? I can even go to, a personal story, like a 6th to 8th grade at PS14. I acted in Shakespeare plays. I did 3 different ones. I even got a scholarship to go to college. But what I realized, even back then, was the art. That form of art saved my life, right? So the 3 hours that I spent, at school, I could have been doing anything else with that 3 hours. So just providing opportunities for young people in our community to have access to it is very huge. and not just young people, right? We're talking about adults who have an appreciation for art, and giving them a space to really showcase some of the things that they've done. And under the Spears administration, we're going to ensure to have like studios and maker spaces in each of the wards. And then do cool things like partner with schools and nonprofits so that we could complement some of the curriculum that they complement the curricula that they have already. And I'm just really excited about this opportunity because I love the arts, and I know that lives can be transformed through this method. I'm just grateful to you, Amy, and many other folks who are committed to it as well, because the work that you guys do is incomparable. So thank you.
Chris, did you have a chance to respond to the question?
No, I mean, I agree with everything that everyone's saying. I think we have to prioritize. And, just imagine, what the Art Council could have done, with $12 million, $14 million, right? Because, I was there on city council when they was fighting for the art tax, and it's finally here, But just the nonprofits, like, people who want to partner with schools and things like that. People want to expand these things, whether it be in the housing sites, whether it be just all around the city. So, it's our priorities. And as council people, we are the, like I keep saying over and over again, we're the financial steward, of the city. And so when we start saying, like, we want to expand recreation, we want to do this and want to do that, we want a more inclusive mural program without everything being all as restricted as it is. Like, there's different ways that we can improve city services and how the city responds and treat local artists. That Pompidou is a smack in the face for local artists, and the city constantly looks for outside venues and vendors and everybody else to do the people's business. I don't care if it's from violence prevention all the way to the local artists. The city always tries to find a way to circumvent local talent, and local talent can get the job done. They have the ideas, they just need the dollars. And when you putting the dollars into the hands of the community, our children are blessed, our community is better, and that's what has to happen.
Thank you for that, Chris. Amy, do you have any follow-up questions? You can ask two candidates.
I guess the only follow-up question I have regards the art tax that Chris brought up, and I think Lewis brought it up as well. So for the first time ever, the city has instituted this art tax, and they've taken in a bunch of money, and it's just sitting there. And we have artists in Jersey City and art spaces that are really struggling, especially after COVID. And that money's not going anywhere. It's just sitting in an account somewhere. And there was no plan as to how this was going to be distributed. So I guess I'd be really curious to know if you have any ideas about maybe like the best ways to get that out to the community, sort of what steps you would take if you would, were you to be elected to start getting some of that money moving, because there's a lot of people here who really could use it, and the money's already there.
See, and the thing about it, Amy, is that, there's a stipulation within an art tax that basically says that, fine, it can be utilized for local artists and things like that, but it also can be utilized budgetary wise too. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. So like, this city does stuff, sometimes with the smoke and mirrors, you'll find that art tax, the funding, some form of the budget, and we hope not. So I just think that the board needs to find just take a bunch of organizations and community groups that are doing the work, divvy up the dough appropriately. If you have more artists in this particular organization, give them more money. If you can give like little small mini allocations to people who just want to do something with their kids in the after school program. So the donations can range from as much as $25,000 all the way to $1,500 to $2,000. It depends on your program, but we need to first put all those programs on the table and then put that money into the hands of these community groups, because that money should not be sitting there.
Yeah, it's really a shame, right? It's really a shame that we have this money sitting there. This is the people's money. This is the people's money, and kids are out here in need to express themselves.
Mhm.
For the life of me, I can't understand how you have revenue coming in that you don't plan or have a plan to disperse. Meanwhile, we have crime running rapid. We have no arts programs nowhere in the entire city, and we have the money right there. For the life of me, I just can't understand. So something I'm going to do immediately once I'm in office is orchestrate a plan to disperse those funds to programs in the community. And there's a great deal of programs that's doing the work on the ground already. So it's not like you have to look for the programs. It's not rocket science. At some point, we have to hold elected leadership accountable. We have to. This is the people's money.
Yeah, I agree with Chris and Frank. Transparency, accountability, and lack of leadership is something that we've proven with a track record. It's nothing that we got personally with a person that is in office. But like any other job, if you're not performing and doing what you're supposed to do, you got to be replaced with somebody that actually be willing to do the work, and that's how it works. I mean, the administration proved that they are resilient to give out fund for residents that are struggling with rent assistance because they want to use the funds because they want to use the fund before the elections, and that way they get more vote. Also, they were funding for affordable housing, about $16 million that have to return because they were not proactive to go out there and allocate those funds and programs and provide affordable housing for the people. I mean, and just the same thing with this issue with the tax money. We need to make sure that we got people in the position of leadership that is going to be willing to do what is right for the community, to can oversee where the fund is going to be allocated, especially with nonprofit people that are working out there and helping the community, providing food, providing clothing. They actually have an impact, not asking for anything in return, just the gratification to help people. That's why I believe also that we should have some funds allocated for these type of nonprofits that are out there, and make sure that they get an opportunity also to get part of that of that money that is in the city, and they can keep fulfilling those missions and helping the community in the best way that they can. So I definitely for it, and help is in the way when we get elected.
I also would like to make sure that the local arts taxes are spent on local arts programs, and that the monitoring has to be there. You see, because we make with every single great idea, if there's nobody monitoring, and it has to be a nonpartisan person, it can't be someone in the city, because we're always talking about local artists. We have a program right in Berry Lane Park that we wanted to do the mural projects on the silos. And our first pushback is no, we need local artists. We don't want national artists. So there's something about the city that wants to tout about going big, all the time. And we really have to start at home, looking at our local people. So again, whatever committee is put together, it has to be someone to making those decisions to make sure that it's monitoring and the money is going where it's supposed to go.
Absolutely. Amy, thank you so much for that question.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Look forward to voting for you. Bye.
We appreciate you too. Thank you.
Yes, have a nice day, Amy.
Bye-bye.
And so I think we have time for one or two commenter questions, audience questions. Okay, this one is from Andrea Mazzo. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Can I see it one more time? Communication seems to be a core issue in Jersey City. What are your plans to improve the infrastructure of communication among our community? So
Yes.
her question pertains to communication.
Yes. These questions are really unfair. I'm actually a communication major, so I know the nuance and importances uh, of communication. Communication is extremely important, right? And here's why communication is extremely important. Because what I'm saying and what I mean can be two conflicting things. There needs to be a direct line of communication. And with the current administration, forget the lack of communication. They don't even acknowledge you exist. They don't even acknowledge that there's real problems. So in this new Ward F, the new vision for the new Ward F, communication is going to be key. And the thing about communication, right? We can agree to disagree. But so as long as though we have the availability and accessibility to have that dialogue, to have that communication, it is extremely important that we are in constant communication with respect to legislation that's going to be passed, with respect to the disbursement of funds. That stuff is extremely important. And again, in the new Ward F, there's going to be a level of transparency, communication, and accessibility like never seen before. And that's what we plan on bringing. So, Andrea, communication is extremely important, and it's twofold, right? The recipient of the communication and the igniter of the communication is very important. Shout out to Rutgers University Communication School.
Are you?
You know, and in general, right, we want to make sure that we use all modalities of communication, right? Right. So it's exactly what Frank is saying, and also ensuring that. So when it's during election time, right, we know how to get in contact with every voter. We know how to get in contact with the residents of Jersey City in a very strategic way, right? But then it's like, you know, when there's a big meeting or something to vote on, it's like, well, you guys didn't come out. We didn't know about it, right? And so keeping the same energy during the campaign time is so important. And so that's essentially the type of communication that we're going to create, because that's the way that you get to the people and really affect change.
Just
Anyone
one.
else would like to?
Yeah, I just want to add. I personally believe that you know, we got to be always listening and providing feedback to the community. What are the programs that are available at the municipal level? What are the changes in ordinance that are, you know, implemented? And it has to be beyond just, you know, using social media, or, you know, you got to go and use the news, whatever way that the people can actually access information. One thing that I have on my platform that I want to do is that I want to have meetings in every ward with churches, social activists, people that actually are involved directly with the community. We want to be able to provide what are the changes and programs that we have in the city hall, and also we want to have our ears open to listen what are the issues that are affecting them directly in those communities, and that way we can take that feedback. And this is not going to be something that is going to happen the last 6 months in an election year, because that's what you see. Now you see that they want to fix the street everywhere. They want to go out there and want to be listening to what you have to say. But they, as Frank said all the time, the 3.5 and the 0.5 rule, spend 3.5 years ignoring you, not listening to your needs, and then they spend half a year trying to resolve all the problems. And we cannot, you know, allow that. We got to make sure that we step up, that we got people that actually care about the community, that they are willing to listen and take actions on the things that are important. We got meetings like for the ISO. We got almost 100 people going over there complaining and with facts saying this is not what we want. And then the people that we have in place, what they do is they turn their backs and they follow what they told, because they have, you know, no will, no leadership to stand up and do what's right for our communities. If we elected, I can assure you, you know, and we want to prove it to you that we want to be your ears, your eyes, your voice whenever there is an issue in Jersey City, to make sure that you are treated like you deserve it, the people that got to elect us.
Yeah. And there, I think there needs to be a better way for us to communicate emergency issues as well. When emergencies happen, we need to act in accordance as it is an emergency, and not just with the boiling of the water. Because I got to tell you, anytime we have some major water rainfalls, we need to really be suspect of the drinking water. But if you would go back to what happened with the Hurricane Sandy that took place back then, you know, and I know most of us are doing social media, but in that particular case, social media would not work. So we need to have some central communication centers, and we should start building that right away. Maybe block leaders that know where to go, so that when these things happen, there's a central place that we need to go to get information and resources. Because if we don't have electricity and we don't have a way to communicate, you know, we're lost. We're lost, and of course, a lot of people will lose out. So while we're doing all of that, we really need to keep that in mind going forward.
Okay.
Thank you for that. So in the interest of time, we're going to be winding down. I would like each candidate at this time, you know, just take a minute to give some closing remarks, lasting message to voters as we approach November 2nd.
Can I start?
Sure.
So as the next mayor,
we'll
right?
go in size order.
You know what?
No, I'm asking because I want to follow the protocol. I just want to.
Man, you're so lucky we're alive, man. So as I said in the beginning of the run, right? It's not my run for mayor; it's our run for leadership. And I have a great deal of respect for each of these individuals. And even though we may not agree on everything, we agree on the one paramount issue, which is to bring about the best version of Jersey City that we can that it could actually be, right? And so each of the candidates, they love, and I'm speaking on your behalf, we all love Jersey City. And, you know, we're going to make sure to bring about transparency and accountability, and ensuring that, you know, the best policies are implemented to improve the quality of life for the folks in Jersey City, especially when it comes to, you know, issues that affect your pockets. Right, like the art tax and the MUA, right? Not trying to rush it through, but being very clear about the expectations, so that we're bringing everyone into the fold. I'm just happy. I'm happy to be in this place, and I have a great deal of respect for each of them. And on November 2nd, you would do the city a great service by voting for each of us. Because essentially you'll be voting for your interests. Thank you.
So are we really sticking to the order of size places?
Might as well.
Really, Ms. June, you're going to jump on?
Thanks, Frank.
That means I'll be last, right? So here I am, June Jones, running for council at large. November 2nd, I hope that you make the right choice, and I hope that you choose me. My slot is 6B on the ballot slot. Please look for us. This is a year where you just don't go down the line. You have to look for the responsible people that you want to represent you. It is important, if you seriously want representation. I know that we need the representations for Jersey City to go forward. I can tell you that I've been working in the community for over 30 years. We've had much success just doing the things in the community, and I would like to spread my experience to represent Jersey City as a whole. I can tell you that I am with integrity, will act accordingly. I will not be bossed, I will not be bullied, but I will do better for Jersey City. It is important for us to all have transparency and accountability. You can count on me for that. I ask November 2nd for your vote. June Jones, 6B, Council at Large. Thank you.
6B. All right. I guess it's a tie between the guys, because I don't know who's bigger.
Well, Frank and Elvin are bigger.
Okay, Chris.
Oh man,
Keep it PG, please.
I just want to thank y'all for putting this.
No, it's Chris. It's Chris.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay. See, Frank. Okay, thank you, Frank. No, you know this, and you have the picture with me. You need the picture with me and my new hair. Oh, you know, I've seen people on the line tonight. You know, saying, you know, big shout out to BB because I know I see her on YouTube. But I just want to say thank you for this forum because it's very necessary that, you know, folks get to hear us and understand who we are and what we're standing for, because we stand for the people here in Jersey City. And sometimes that gets drowned out with millions of dollars in commercials and all the rest of that stuff. So when you have people who are indebted to making sure that Jersey City is better, and even after the election, will we still be doing this work? Even in elected positions, like we're going to be even better advocates than who we're actually running against. And I'm not throwing shade or just throwing light or anything, but you will get a level of transparency and a deeper commitment to Jersey City by electing all of us here on this medium tonight. So that's why it's very important to elect people who have your best interests, because we care. And I won't even go that far because that, you know, they call that sneak dissing. But I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it real. You have people with a vast amount of experience on this call. You have an educator, a former councilman, and myself asking to be back on that city council. You have somebody who's been fighting. You have an activist and a person who stands up for youth, and Frank Gilmore. You have a person who promotes businesses and help to build up Jersey City, you know, economically with Elvin and just the HACA and the Commerce Association of Latinos. Yeah, then you actually have June Jones, who actually have the wherewithal to ensure that affordable housing is being built. Because you can talk affordable housing, but you need to have the person that is able to build affordable housing, right? And then you have Louis Spears, who dedicated his life to making sure that youth are better. He's educated. He's well equipped for the job. And I don't care how many times people start talking about experience and this, that, and the third. This man is brilliant. He's intelligent, and he's for Jersey City, right? So you have everybody on this call ready to rock. And when you put us into that leadership position, Jersey City is going to see leadership like it has never seen before.
Yes.
All right.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, yes. Alvin, you want to go? You want me to go, sir?
Do you want to close, Frank? I can go first.
All right. I mean, it's up. Yeah, young fella.
Let me go, Elvin. You might not have closing time.
All right. So I want to echo all my colleagues in the forum, and I just want to let you know that I want to make you proud to say that the people that we got in place in City Hall is somebody that I feel, you know, proud to be there, somebody that can bring hope to our community, somebody that can be your eyes in the council and the city government, somebody that can have the ears to listen to you and ensure that whenever there is a need or there is a problem, you can be accessible. I'm somebody that I'm very passionate about the city. I'm very passionate about helping our community, and it will be an honor for me to sit in that table where the decisions, the important decisions of the city are made, and I can be the person that can advocate for you. So coming November 2nd, it's our responsibility. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to the people that you care for, because we cannot afford to leave this city government for the next 4 years, because we won't be able to stay here. It's going to be not affordable. Our schools, you know, our public school needs to be better. It's not about having a table two different cities. It's not about that we have issues with people coming living in Jersey City. It's about making sure that we have leadership that can represent everybody in the city. Remember, the last time we got somebody with a take action in the city council, the past Michael Jones, he was somebody that did a great job. So I want to be and embrace that leadership. So please vote 7B coming November 2nd. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alvin. I do want to just briefly acknowledge that this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so that's the big dapper than and pink just to, you know, show solidarity and stand with all the people we've lost to breast cancer. Again, thank you for having this forum. The community see the work put in. They see the countless hours of blood, sweat, and tears advocating for the people of Jersey City, namely Ward F. I ask that you find it in your heart to not only come out and vote, but to bring your grandchildren out to vote, to bring your grandparents out to vote, to bring your friends out to vote, to bring your neighbors out to vote, and to bring everyone out to vote, because this election is not necessarily about me or about the other independent candidates. This election is about the future direction of our city. It's about being there and being an advocate for our most vulnerable populations. It's about being equally representative across all spectrums in local government. And I know that it's going to be a huge task being a council person of Ward F. It is the most diverse ward in the city. And I know and understand all of the complications that's coming with it. But this is a job that I'm signing up for. It's a job that I'm equipped to do. And the thing about me, what you have to respect is that no matter what my position is, I'm always willing to listen to the opposition. I'm that type of person that I'm not of the mindset that everything I do, say, and think is right. I'm extremely open-minded individual. And I will tell you this before I go. I will always advocate on the behalf and the interest of the constituents in Ward F. So on this November 2nd, become a part of history by voting for Frank Educational Gilmore, 1C on the ballot. Thank you. You muted, Janine.
You're muted, Ms. Brown.
There you go.
There you go. So on that note, I would like to thank all of the candidates for joining us. I want to thank all the viewers for sharing the live, joining, asking questions, right? And it's important to know, right, that campaigns do not run themselves. They need money. So if you are invested in the future of Jersey City, please donate to their campaigns, sign up to volunteer. You know, the signs that you guys see, they cost money, the lawn signs, the posters, things like that. So, you know, the power of the people is great. And one last reminder, please don't forget to register to vote. The deadline is October 12th. That means if you are not registered by October 12th, you cannot vote on November 2nd. So if you have young people that you know who need to get registered, you know, this is united. We are the answer, right? So we are in this together. Let's get active. Let's get out here and let's get all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these independent candidates into office. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week. And on that note, we're going to roll out Chris's official video, Rise Up, and have a good night, everyone. Stay on to view so we can rock out.
Steve Phillip don't respect us. Dollar bills got his morals all messed up. Moved to Jersey City to be the governor. Using Jersey City to be the senator. Team Phillip said he wouldn't run for 3 terms, but now Team Phillip run for 3 terms. We have to do things to make him disappear. Register the vote and vote for Louis Spears. He had the MUA, push the water tax, shortchange the schools with the payroll tax. The Prince of Goldman Sachs got the city gift wrap to developers like Matt Cali, Kushner, and Left Rack. Capitalists with the grins on their face while the working poor, they're all displaced. Frustration, we deal with gentrification. We need healing from the violence that we're facing. He got to go. These people don't respect us. Dollar bills got their morals all messed up. These people don't respect us. Dollar bills got their morals all messed up. So we rise up. Fight the power that be. Fight the power that be. Now I'ma spit these bars, cause I want the job as councilman at large. We need real change, Jersey City, because the politicians serve themselves. Be the change you see in our city, because everyone can share this wealth. Let's fight for education, youth recreation, voter participation with no hesitation. High cost of living, no affordable homes, market rate housing with no inclusion zones. No one should live like this. I see the homeless waiting on the housing list. I see people hustle and bustle, working 2 jobs on another level of poverty. Times are real hard. this causes resentment. Jersey City, rise up. We have to represent. Independent leadership, yo, we got you. November 2nd, elect us on the city council. They got to go. These people don't respect us. Dollar bills got their morals all messed up. These people don't respect us. Dollar bills got their morals all messed up. So we rise up. Fight the pound with that beat. So we rise up and take care of business. Fight the pound with that